Hey, what is up YouTube? This is Merman Master coming at you guys from the Team Time Riders Yugioh channel with an extraordinarily special deck profile today. But before I get started into it, I just want to give a couple of shout outs. The first shout out, of course, is to Mr. Pedro Ricardo for continuously being a constant member of support on the team channel. We love you, man. You're awesome and keep going. And the second one is to Mr. Laz Gibbard, who's commented on one of our videos. He's like, is Wind Up Time Thief a possibility? So big shout outs to you, man, because you were the inspiration behind this deck. So before I get started with this, a little story behind this. As you guys know, I really wanted to pick up the Time Thieves, and I've been trying to get that stuff. And for a while, I was trying to think of what they might work well in, because ultimately they had the same problem as Spirals. They're really cool rank 4 engine, but not a lot of people know what to put them with. Sky Strikers is a thing, of course, you could put them with Mech Knights or whatever, but what does Time Thieves really jive with? And the same thing can be said on the opposite side of my wind-up deck profile. You guys saw the wind-up deck profile. Ultimately, wind-ups, they're strong now that Magician is back to 3, but they're ultimately not as strong a contender because so many decks out there are super strong. And I've tried several different strategies. I've tried artifacts. I've tried hands. I've tried the Star Seraphs in here. I've tried all sorts of stuff. Multiples of it was trying to slow the game down to play at wind-up's pace, but even then the deck was failing to keep up. And when you recommended that to combine them together, I instantly knew that it had to be done. And let me just tell you, that combination is a match made in heaven, guys. I absolutely love this deck. I adore it. And if you guys have the opportunity to build it, please do. I'm not going to really go into some of the effects in detail, but think about it this way, guys. This is a deck that's made to push out XYZ monsters fast and hard. Really awesome stuff, and I can't wait to show it to you guys. I love this deck super much, and let's just say Time Thieves and Wind-Ups both needed each other. They were made for each other, and these decks sing in a collaboration, just completely supporting the other decks. So without further ado, guys, we're going to get started. And we're going to start things off with the Wind-Ups monsters. So starting out, we have 3 Wind-Up Magician, 3 Wind-Up Shark, and now only 2 copies of Wind-Up Rat, and then only 1 copy of Wind-Up Rabbit. Very small wind-up count number here, but there's the key behind this play is Wind-Up Magician and Wind-Up Shark combined together with Wind-Up Factory allow you to do amazing stuff. Basically, it's that key special summon engine that has the 3 magicians. You do Magician, Shark, Chain Factory's effect to when you special summon the Shark, search another Shark from your deck. Magician grabs another Magician, special summon the Shark when Magician is special summon, and then grab a Rat, and instantly you got 5 monsters on your board. So amazing, so consistent, very good play. And of course, super good for going into your wind-up link monsters, super good for going into all sorts of plays. Now, you might ask why I cut down the numbers of Rat and Rabbit in this deck from 3 to 2 and 1 respectively. Wind-Up Rat is kind of like a wolf bark. He doesn't do much by himself. He doesn't special summon himself to the field, and he doesn't really generate too much advantage besides special summoning something from the graveyard. And I felt that with the way that the game has progressed, wolf bark-like effects like that are not really as strong as they used to be. So Wind-Up Rat is in here okay at 2. Wind-Up Rabbit, of course, not really that useful either, but easily searchable by Factory and can allow you to gain a lot of advantage by himself. So I feel like this wind-up ratio is working so well right now, and it absolutely, the main thing is just supporting the Time Thieves and, of course, getting out Redoer. This is kind of like Redoer deck. Now, guys, moving on to the Time Thieves, we have 3 main deck monsters, and they all go primarily around XYZs. Time Thief Winder, Time Thief Regulator, and Time Thief Bezel Ship. Basically, the ideas behind these Time Thief monsters is they allow you to get XYZ monsters out onto the field and are a very good source of just advantage. Time Thief Winder can special summon himself by detaching XYZ material from any monster. And when he's special summoned, allows you to add any Time Thief card from your deck to your hand. So good. As I remember, pushing that advantage is your key thing. Regulator, I kind of like to think as the deck's very own Rescue Rabbit. You can tribute the card and special summon any 2 Time Thief monsters with different names from your deck to your hand. So usually you're going to grab a Time Thief Winder and a Time Thief Bezel Ship, because those are pretty much the only things you can add. And then if an XYZ monster is... so it's when an XYZ monster is destroyed by battle while this card's in the graveyard, you can special summon it to the field, but of course you can banish this card when it leaves the field. But the idea is that you're going to be continuously XYZ summoning this card, or XYZ summoning using this card, so you can continue to get that effect off if it just gets destroyed by battle. Last thing, of course, guys, in here is Time Thief Bezel Ship. Bezel Ship is one of your best Time Thief monsters as well. Each one of them is just amazing. This effect allows you to tribute itself while it's on the field, and then you can attach any card from your opponent's graveyard to the to an XYZ monster you control. And not to mention, guys, it's a quick effect. So if your opponent's got like a Call of the Haunted, or they have something, or they're trying to target like monster, spell, or trap in the graveyard, activate Bezel Ship's ability to equip the card to an XYZ monster you control and prevent your opponent from doing anything with it. Chain it to, even like a hand trap or something like that. Whatever the heck you want, Time Thief Bezel Ship comes in there and makes something out of it. So basically, it also, in addition to Time Thief Winder, has the ability, except in the deck, you can detach to special summon from the graveyard. They're all level 4, so they work super well with Magician and Shark. And that's going to close out my monster count here, guys. I believe it's like 20 monsters, a very good number, and I consider that ratio golden. First 3 spell cards we have in here, guys, are Playset of Wind Up Factory. Gotta run Wind Up Factory in here absolutely at 3. This is one of the key plays. Magician, Shark, Factory. Your main plays come directly out of this card. And so the more factories you have, the more stuff you can search, the more advantage you can push, and the more power you can gain on your side of the field to aggro forward for some plays. Next card, a lot of people have been disputing it at 3, but I really like it. Time Thief Hack. Time Thief Hack allows you to gain, basically gain immunity for all your XYZ monsters as soon as they're summoned. And when Time Thief Hack's on the field, you can target one of your XYZ monsters, have it gain 300 for each material on it. And then if that monster has a material that was originally owned by your opponent attached to it, you get to attack your opponent's life points directly. When you have Time Thief Redoer, who's at 24 to start with, usually he's going to be made with 2 or 3 materials, which means that's a 3,200 shot directly at your opponent's life points, and even a way to dodge that, like if something else happens. Next cards we're running, 3 Twin Twisters. Very good. A lot of your Time Thieves, as you guys know, have graveyard effects, so you have no problem discarding them. The cost is like non-existent in this deck, guys. And finally, 1 copy of Monster Reborn. Reborn back your monsters. Really great working with your windups. You special summon back any windup monster, and if you have like a Shark or something like that in hand, you get the special summon like that. And then, if you reborn back Magician, special the Shark. Magician will special summon something else from your deck, and you just push advantage against your opponent without even normal summoning. As I mentioned, the windups, they can't work by themselves, but working together with the Time Thieves allows these cards to shine so much, guys. Now, that's going to be it for the spells. I believe it's 10 spells. And we're going to be moving on to the traps, and the traps is where the deck really shines. We've got 3 copies of Time Thief Flyback, one of the main trap cards in the entire deck. It's got, basically you can activate this effect to equip any Time Thief card from your deck, including another copy of itself, to an XYZ monster you control. And of course that gets so important when you're talking about Time Thief Redoer. And then its graveyard effect allows you to equip anything from your opponent's graveyard to itself. So like your Time Thief Bezel Ship on the field, Flyback can activate in the graveyard as a trap card and grab something your opponent's about to use and attach it to your monster. And let me tell you guys, it gets them really upset when this stuff happens. Next cards we're running is a Mirror Force swath of 2 Quaking and 2 Storming. Storming is really good for bouncing stuff back to your opponent's hand. Unlike previous windup decks, you now have fields, and you're going to always have a field because you're going to be constantly going into Redoers. a lot. And then Quaking Mirror Force, I really personally like Quaking because it prevents fields from like getting too large. It's not really too good against link centric and link focused decks, but the way that the format has been moving, and with the recent release of Phantom Dragon Phantasme, a lot of players are, at least in the short term, shying away from the extra link. So it is something that that you can consider. And then finally, guys, for the deck, we've got the Solemn Brigade in here. 3 strike, 1 warning, 1 judgment to close out the trap cards. A good, nice number of trap cards in here, and does the job quite well. Now, moving on to the XYZs. I don't know where my copy of the wind-up link are, but I will track them down at some point. The first card we have in here, yeah, I've got 4 of them, but usually you probably want to run like 2 or 3. Time Thief Redoer. I cannot say enough about this card. This card is incredible, and it's the single-handed thing that makes this strategy work. Basically, Redoer is a generic rank 4 monster that's kind of like Omega on crack. Omega, the reason why it's so good is, yeah, you expend 2 level 4 monsters or whatever to summon it, but it gains you advantage over the course of the entire duel. And that's what Redoer does. So Redoer's effect, once per turn during the standby phase, both your and your opponent's standby phase, attach the top card of your opponent's deck to this card as an XYZ material. Then you can detach either monster, spell, or trap up to 3, but only 1 of each type from this card to activate any number of effects. The monster effect, very, very important because that's how you're most of the time going to be summoning Redoer, allows you to banish itself until the end phase. So it's not even until the next standby phase. So you're going to get that next standby phase hit off the top of your opponent's deck. Redoer allows you to banish itself until the end phase, and in doing so, that's a quick effect, allowing you to dodge whatever effects, but it actually becomes extremely useful because if you have a bunch of monsters, you want to go for a bunch of XYZs, you can special summon a Redoer, banish Redoer by its effect, and then your extra monster zone opens up again and you have space for some stuff. Then the other effect of Redoer, when you have a spell card under it, allows you to draw 1 card from your deck. So anytime you have a spell card under Redoer, detach that spell card, you can draw a card from your deck. Very, very strong. And finally, its trap effect, which you don't get that often, but when you do, man, it's awesome. Trap effect allows you to basically get a non-target place of your opponent's, any one of your opponent's cards onto the top of their deck, provided that that card is face up. So you take any card that your opponent has non-targeting face up and put it on the top of their deck, and if it's during your turn and then you end, whatever you put on the top of your deck then can go under Redoer. So in some senses, to say, guys, Redoer is actually an even more permanent way of removing something from the game rather than banishing it. Stacking it under as an XYZ monster and preventing your opponent from accessing it in any way, shape, or form could be a death sentence for them. So I can't say enough good stuff about Redoer, guys. I've talked about it for close to 2 minutes or something like that. But man, this card single-handedly makes the deck and allows you to have somewhere to put all of the advantage that both the Time Thieves and the windups generate for you. So that's that. Now, guys, moving on to some of the other wind-up cards that we have here in the deck. And let me just tell you, this is going to be a blast from the past from people who haven't seen it before. So, guys, starting off, we got that Pappy, that S-Pappy right here. Papal Operative for that wind-up shark and wind-up rat play. Allows you to grab more and more stuff. This is actually extra good right now because if you grab Pappy and you can do that link play, you can get some extra benefits off of that, like really, really strong plays with that Pappy right there. Very, very good card, and definitely something I recommend in here still in 2019. 1 copy of Castell, self-explanatory. Gaga Samurai for those OTK plays. Of course, Baguska is in here for playing against non-link decks, wall up. Then we got Steel Swarm Roach. Got 1 copy of Diamond Dire Wolf. Abyss Dweller for all those Guard Dragon decks and different other stuff that your opponent's trying to throw at you. Evil Swarm Exciton Knight. Tornado Dragon. the Utopia package, and then, guys, if you're interested in level 3 monsters, of course, you can run these or you cannot. The extra deck is very, very much a toolbox depending on what you want to put in there and how you want to build the deck, whether you want to focus it more on XYZs or link plays. Totally up to you. We got Levier the Sea Dragon, the Phantom Knights of Breaksword, and finally Wind Up Zen Mines to round everything out. So, guys, verdict on this deck, it is awesome. And thank you once again for that suggestion to put Wind Up Time Thieves together. So to answer your question, whether or not Wind Up Time Thieves is a possibility, I'm going to say an unequivocal yes, it absolutely is. Time Thieves and Wind Ups basically work together in harmony to accentuate the best and strongest parts about each deck while covering for the weaknesses and combining together to both summon Redoer as well as any number of XYZs from your deck to gain advantage, to push aggro, to push against your opponent is kind of like the old style of Zexal play that I miss, that I really, really wanted to get back to at some point. And I can't thank Konami enough for releasing such an amazing archetype in Time Thieves that allows us to have such a deck like this. But guys, I really hope you enjoyed this deck profile. And if you did, please consider giving it a like, comment, or subscribe on the Team Time Riders YouTube channel so that we can keep making content just like this. With that being said, guys, it's the Mermail Master with the Team Time Riders YouTube channel, and I'm signing out. Catch you guys next time. Peace.